Welcome back, and joining us on the show now is David Kelly. He's CEO at Natural Diamond Council. David, I thank you so much for joining us here in our CNBC studios. With the gold prices at all-time highs, would you say that this is a time that people are buying more of diamonds then? Because gold is out of reach, but diamond clearly, while is appreciating, hasn't really done up.
Yes, obviously, to a certain extent, the gold here in India and China, the gold market affects more directly the prices and diamond sales. But in the biggest market in the world, there has much less of an influence of gold prices in jewellery on the sales of diamonds.
David, the last couple of years haven't been so great for natural diamonds because we've seen lower demand growth in China and US, both of these major markets. Are those numbers improving now?
Yes, I mean, the numbers in the US market, is the biggest market in the world. It's around half of all diamonds sold are sold in the US market. In that market, up until the end of last year, the big diamond retailers had a very successful season selling natural diamonds. Predominantly their customers buying from Wealth, and Wealth has done historically over the last few years very well in the US. And that really continued through until the first quarter. The first quarter of this year, the US market was up just over 4.5%. So the trend in diamond sales in the biggest market of the world is still doing well. Okay. Here in India, we're still forecasting a 5 to 10% growth in diamond jewellery sales, which will make it the fastest growing market in the world and strengthen its position as the second largest market. And then in China is still is seeing slow signs of recovery. So it's certainly not fully recovering yet. There's still a long way to go, but it seems to be showing the earliest shoots of recovery for there.
And how is Middle East now looking at? Because that is a market that continues to do well over the years.
Yeah, the Middle East always seems an unusual market. It always has its completely unique dynamic in that market, and it's where people like to spend money. They get excited by new brands, innovation, etc. So the Middle East market is still innovating. There's still a lot of activity there, and it's still a strong market.
You talked about India, and you told us that India clearly continues to be a strong one, and 5 to 10% of growth. When you talk about that, are you looking at that on an year-on-year basis or this year particular?
Year-on-year, so 2025 versus 2024.
And are you anticipating this demand growth continuing over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think in today's world any of us like to make predictions from one day to the next. I think we all feel a little less secure making predictions, but assuming the disruption that's going on in the world at the moment starts to calm down a little bit and we have more predictability in the world, I think there's nothing in the long-term economic factors or cultural factors that would slow that down.
David, for some time we've also seen lab-growns cause a bit of a heartache to natural diamond people here. Is that phase also now passing on?
Yeah, and I think now that people understand that lab-growns are a very very different proposition from natural diamonds. They're a very different market. The pricing of lab-growns is now 90 to 95% cheaper than a natural diamond. So there isn't really any confusion. There's no real overlap in there. So I think it's much more settling into a long-term, clear understanding that lab-growns are a much cheaper product to the real thing, which is the natural diamond.
David, we are stepping into a time and period which is going to be Akshaya Tritiya, an auspicious period where people buy a lot of gold and jewellery, and then of course a big wedding season coming in from the month of May onwards. What are you as a Diamond Council looking at India as a market? Are there plans for branding, marketing, etc. going forward?
Yeah, so there's more investment than ever being made in the India market because of the growth that's here. So us and other parties as well are investing a lot of money in this market to continue to show the innovation in diamond jewellery, continue to show the values of natural diamonds, and just get people excited. Diamond jewellery is something to be really beautiful and passionate about. So that's what we collectively all invest in this market for.
What would you say is the penetration level when it comes to natural diamonds in India, and what kind of growth are you seeing on there?
Penetration of the total diamond market. I mean, lab-grown diamonds here are still very small relative to the total market. So I don't have any market data specifically, but it's the very low end of single-digit numbers. So it doesn't really play. There's much more talk about it than there is actual reality of people buying lab-grown diamonds. Don't really see that changing too dramatically. So it's why we really just focus on the natural segment of the market.
A word on diamond prices as well, if I may, David. And we've seen prices hit all-time highs in 2022, and then there was a profit-taking and the prices seem to be rising yet again. I was reading some reports which suggest that this year we've seen diamond prices gain up by 10% already. How are you looking at diamond availability, certification, prices?
Yeah, so really the prices reflect the growing demand, particularly in India and the US, as I was saying. So ever since kind of February, we've seen a real bounce back in the price of diamonds. And again, we can see that continuing because the markets remain strong. Consumer consumption of diamond jewellery remains strong. So we really see this as really the kickback following the reaction to the very big growth in diamond prices post-pandemic. This is really the kickback from, from then, that decline that came after that.
And what caratages are doing better or well, especially in the Indian markets?
Which
caratages, what carat? Are people buying solitaires? Is it smaller diamonds that people are buying? What is?
Yeah, I mean, it's across the range of qualities and sizes. I always say diamonds are very individual. There's no two diamonds in the world that are the same. So diamonds are very much about you and what you love and what you fall in love with. And so I don't really narrow it down to trends in specific diamonds because I want everyone to go to a jeweller, see the diamonds they fall in love with, and that diamond will be for them.
All right. Thank you, David, for coming to our studios here. And of course, as always, weaving a story around those diamonds and emotions as well and giving us very strong numbers going forward into the market. Well, India is the second largest market when it comes to natural diamonds. And as David tells us, 5 to 10% of a growth in demand is what we're anticipating in the year to come as well, as far as natural diamond concerns. Will that